And the real task is learning to trust yourself.
So when it comes to being single, there's lots of personal reasons that keep people stuck. What are the biggest blocks that keep people single, stuck? Is it fear? What's going on there?
Well, I think the number one thing that keeps people stuck when they're looking for love is this idea that there's something wrong with them because they're single. The media feeds this, that there's something broken in them that they have to fix, or a wound that they have that needs to be cleared or healed. And then they start feeling that they're not good enough. They already feel not good enough already. And then society makes you think, well, when you get married, everything will be okay. And so they're coming in this place where they're almost on this hamster wheel of self-help and healing, trying to heal themselves, but coming from that place of I'm broken and I need to fix myself. And that just, it perpetuates and perpetuates, and they never escape that cycle.
I'd love to add to that. I think that for anyone who isn't in a relationship and wants to be, or isn't in the kind of relationship that they want to be, there's so much of them that's in pain, but there's a small part of them that's actually cheering and clapping because that part is doing the good job. And this is a deep and kind of esoteric way to look at it, but what I found with my work with clients, that there's a part that said, okay, mom or dad, sort of like an emotional contract, and said, all right, you screwed it up with me. You didn't love me right or enough or at all, so I'm going to keep this little part for you to get it right, come back in time and actually do it right and love me right or enough at all. And until then, until you manage to do that impossible task, no one else will get there before you. And I wouldn't believe it, except for that's what we uncover when we go kind of deep.
I agree.
Yeah, and so much has been pathologized about relationships, because a lot of the self-help industry got kind of their start from the medical model or from the therapy model. And so it gets to the point where if you start from that point, all you can do really is get to normality. And that's not really what we want in love and relationships. We want to get to an extraordinary state. And that's very different. That's talking about human potential and human ability, not about just kind of reaching a stasis of normality.
And I always tell my clients that it's good news that you're single, because you haven't settled, and that there's a part of you, like you said, there's that part of you that is saying no to love. Like, I totally agree with that. And but there's also the part of them that says, I want an extraordinary relationship and I'm not going to settle. So you're actually in a very unique position of having the full potentiality of an extraordinary relationship, and not having to kind of work through whatever you have already. You can really come from a really clean slate and know yourself and have an extraordinary love. So I always say, this is great news, and now that you can have a path to find it, you should be really excited for your future, because you can really create great love in your life.
Yeah, I see people who are usually coming out of another relationship because someone had an affair or they were betrayed on some level. So being single for them is more about learning how to trust. And for some people, they feel like, well, I have to choose someone who can jump through all these different hoops so that I know that I can trust them, so that they're trustworthy. And the real task is learning to trust yourself, because particularly if you've been betrayed, you learn that I can't trust my intuition, I can't trust that inner voice, I can't trust my gut instinct that told me I should have known, I should have listened, maybe I did know and I chose not to see. And so your whole inner voice now is something that you can't trust. And until people learn to trust themselves again, they really can't be in another relationship that they can trust, because that outer projection of I'm looking for someone who's trustworthy, who I can trust, is kind of the wrong direction. Trust is really an inner job. It's really about learning to trust myself again. And I think that is possible. And I think when people get it and they go, oh, I have to discern between what's my intuition about someone and what's my fear, then they start to get it, and there's a shift, and they start to know, no matter who I meet, I know right away, I can trust this person, and my fear is telling me he's going to hurt me, but my intuition is telling me, I can really get to know this person.
for single people, it sounds like it's hard out there, and getting past their own personal fears and their blocks. Sounds like that's a lot of the work we have to do, and sounds like there's a good reason for you guys to all be in business.
Yes.